Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video we're going to be discussing another set of CNC controller pictures that I've scouted from the internet. It's certainly not taken me a lot of time to do this, as you all know, especially my past clients. We've discussed this, that more and more vendors are popping up all over the place. I don't know if they're just enthusiasts, electrical engineers, computer builders. I have no idea what their background is. Neither do you. I mean, most of you have no idea. And what I want to do is any issues that I find that really stand out, I want to disclose that to you immediately. Once again, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not disclosing the vendors. You guys need to look for these issues regardless of the vendor and ask the right questions. If you see these issues, my recommendation is I would be very, very weary of putting your money in their pocket, because as soon as you do that, you're basically going to be locked in with that system, and any instability that is created because of the issues I'm about to discuss are really going to be in your hands. I say don't let that happen. Ask the right questions to the vendors once again. Hold them accountable, guys. You're the only one that can do it. And in this way, your money is safe, and hopefully the time it takes for you to engineer your system, get it running, get your business up and running, and you will have a platform that you'll be able to build with and get that ROI you need to pay off everything and start making some money. So let's dive in real quick. This picture right here, I got to say the system in the back looks really neat. There's nothing here really that stands out. He's using GX16 connectors. That's awesome. But we're going to look at some real big issues when it comes to power. If you look here, we've got a 110 to 220 volt AC IEC input right here. He has an integrated fuse here. That's excellent. And you see only one IEC input, which means he's only getting one power feed to this enclosure. As we come over here, we see a port for 110 volt auxiliary power input, and he has it labeled spindle. Guys, this is a huge no-no. Let's discuss this. If you have one power input on your enclosure that's powering your controller, which is again the neurological system of your CNC, you definitely do not want to tamper with high amp draw components that possibly could yield an unstable system. If you have a spindle in anywhere between, I don't even care what it is, if it's 48 volt all the way up to 1522 would be catastrophic. You're pulling 10, maybe 8 to 12 amps on general applications with that unit. Your system then can easily yield any type of instability. It would be almost catastrophic, I mean, for you, the end user. So that's once again why I say you guys really got to pay attention to these details. It looks nice that he integrated the spindle port. The thing you have to realize is when you do that and you're using only one power input, you are stressing everything that's connected to the system. You're not just drawing amps from the spindle, you're also pulling amps that are required away from the lifeline of your controller, which again is the neurological system. So that's where you yield instability. This is where you're looking at, more or less a costume effect. Controller looks good on the outside, but when you look at the details, these are things to really, really pay attention to. We look over here, we could see what this device is. Now this is where a USB input comes in. And guys, I just want to clue you in on something. This is a UC100 installed inside the case. If you don't believe me on that, review the picture of the back of a UC100. Or I can send you the back of a UC100. That's what this is. A lot of these vendors like to incorporate that, make their system look clean, make it look ergonomic. The issue with that is we don't care so much about ergonomics as we do about stability and functionality. When you integrate a UC100 inside a metal enclosure, and I guarantee you inside there, I can't guarantee it because I haven't seen inside there, but we'll say this. I'll say a 98% chance there's no shielding going on inside there. This unit will essentially be in a Faraday cage containing all that EMI and just bouncing off of it. You do not want to take a chance, once again, with your money with this. This right here is a major issue. These two problems right here, this is the heart of your system signals, and then this right here is essentially drawing the amps, the lifeline, from your controller. If your spindles, fluctuation in amps becomes too great, yields the system unstable, you can translate that into missteps, wonky, inputs, outputs, everything can happen. I'm telling you now, be very cautious. We come over here to the fan. Once again, I'm happy to see that the vendor actually took the time to incorporate a fan system. The issue here is I would ask him two questions. First of all, why did you choose a foam air filter? Foam air filters restrict the air volume at a level that virtually suffocates the fan. That's the first question. The second question I would ask is what volume of fan he's using. CFM, which is cubic feet a minute, is the actual measuring of the volume of the intensity of air that the fan provides. Always ask the question, how strong is the fan you're using? If you guys are using computer fans, that's fine. I know a lot of you like to do that. The issue I have with a computer fan is typically they're not strong enough unless you get into the big boy size, which is 120, 240. You really want to stay, some 80 mil fans, the higher end ones, can definitely put out the volume. You want to stay somewhere between a 50 to 60 CFM range in general. In this case, I don't know if this is an induction fan where he's actually increasing air volume in the enclosure, or if it's an extraction fan where he's actually evacuating heat out of it. Either way, you want to stay with that, like I said, that air volume, because if you do that, you guarantee to keep the system stable under all conditions. Again, we don't know the air volume inside here because we don't know the size of this enclosure, but if it's the smaller the enclosure, the more heat that will be generated and condensed. You need a good fan. I can't emphasize that enough. Heat sinks and a fan are not an option. It's a must. It's no different than your standard PC. Okay, so keep that in mind once again. We also see over here this limit switch port. I see this being done more and more frequently. It looks like they're using either a phone cord or a Cat 6. Guys, make sure you're using a shielded cable option if you do have this on your system. You can get the Cat 6 cables that are shielded. You must use that. What's really interesting is none of these enclosures, they take all the time to do all the labeling on their actual exterior to get everything, looking really nice and neat and, like I said, ergonomic. They never label that you require shielded cable. And again, to me, just being me and being in this industry as long as I have, that tells me that they truly don't understand the principles of what they're doing, because you're not going to go through all this trouble to do this and leave that out. Why go through the trouble of putting 1 and 8 over here to label pins and then leave out something as obvious as, hey guys, make sure you use shielded cable to make sure your system is stable and you have no issues. Again, a controller that's assembled yet isn't stable is useless, completely useless. Okay, we're going to keep going now. Let me see where I got my arrow. Okay, this controller I didn't actually hide the manufacturer on. It's a JY5300, excuse me. This is a Chinese brand. I mean, nothing special here, guys. Once again, you can see we've got a lot of things going on here. We have a spindle motor input. We have a cooling system input, limit switch input. Then you have your drives, and once again, here's the catastrophe. You've got one power input controlling your spindle motor and everything else. My question is, do you really believe that they double check to see if the max amps being pulled is 6.8 amps at 110 or even 3.4 at 220? We have no idea what size spindle motor this is that'll be used, and even if it is a smaller size spindle motor in terms of voltage and amperage, I would not want to take a chance with not having a segregated power system for that spindle and then run into issues with stability later on. A lot of guys do that. They think, oh, well, the engineer who built this or the engineering they put into this, it makes sense. It looks nice. Once again, it's ergonomic. It's simple. It looks clean. In the end, I get a message. I don't know what's going on with my system. Something is unstable, blah, 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 blah. I'm getting more and more third-party support questions. Guys, if you see systems like this with all of this integrated into it, be very, very careful. You see that this is Chinese writing on it. You want to discuss with the vendor who tested the system under this amp draw and how stable is the system. You're probably going to get asked a lot of weird questions if you ask them that. That's okay. Get asked the weird questions. You want to see their response. You want to see how they handle things. More and more times, when you see things like this, you already know something is amiss, because most general spindles, once again, are in the realm of between 8 to 12 amps on the low side, okay? Now, and that's talking 220 because most spindles are using an inverter, okay? So when you're dealing with that, it goes 220 in, comes out 3-phase, you're dealing with a lot of things going on. These are things you need to pay close attention to. You got USB port and power parallel port, must be same computer to have opto isolation, okay? So again, they're even disclosing, how to make sure you're getting your opto isolation. I don't even believe they're probably using opto isolators. So I would tell you right now, this is a system to be very, very careful on. Again, it's for a 3020. It's actually driven around a 3020 CNC chassis. These are the ones I want you guys to really be careful as far as purchasing. And if you are going to gamble on one of these, roll the dice, go to eBay or Amazon, and those are the only two places to purchase these. Do not go directly to China. If you do, you are literally in the Wild West, and odds are the last time you'll hear from them is as soon as you get the controller. And, some of them really are genuine in the sense that they'll try to support it up until that point. But once you start saying, hey, I don't know what's going on, system's unstable, it's missing steps, then they kind of draw the line, and that's it. So that's why I say if you're going to gamble that way, and some people are doing it. I mean, I'm getting questions every day, so I know it's happening. Still, people are out there purchasing these systems, paying a third of the price of a quality system, and then wondering why they have trouble. Be careful. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. This one I don't know where to begin on, because this one I found on eBay, and this vendor apparently is selling these. It's some kind of, it looks like a computer case, which I'm sure it is, because if we come over here, you can see it zoomed out, and you can definitely see this is a computer case. I'm going to go one more. This is the side of it. I love the wall plate that he put in the side of it. I don't know exactly what he was thinking there. Once again, you can see as we go through this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see what we've got here. We've got a 12-volt computer power supply. We have a 48-volt power supply. He was nice enough to label everything too. 5-volt, 12-volt logic for your fans. And as we can see, the quality of this build is just atrocious. You've got poor wire management. You don't even have the proper enclosure. Again, a lot of guys are using computer enclosures. That's really not the issue. What the issue becomes is that you want to make sure that your computer enclosure has the proper grounds and drains for your shielded cable. As we review this system once again, you see no shielded cable being used. PC power supplies do not have anything shielded on them. They usually come encased with a braided material. It's a nylon braid. It makes it look really neat. But that being said, computers are not as susceptible to EMI as a CNC system. We have a lot of things going on. You have, 5 drives here? Then he's got, I don't know what this is, another PCB, a 3D extruder. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of crap going on in here. And then we see over here quick connects being used. This is atrocious, guys. Please be careful. Be careful. The good thing is, there is one good thing about this. The vendor is offering this on eBay, so you guys are protected. Your money is safe, which thank God that's the case. But this is frightening. This is a really, really scary setup. And when I say scary, guys, I'm not being as picky about the wiring. I get asked that a lot. I mean, wiring is, again, it's not just connecting. I've said this in numerous videos. You're not connecting point A to point B. You're worrying about the stability. It's not just saying the system turns on. It's not about that. You can build a computer if you've never built it, and I could give you a diagram and you could assemble all the parts and it turn on, but when it comes to installing Windows and all the drivers and everything that goes with that, you have a conflict, you're screwed. The computer means nothing. And it's the same principle with CNC. You guys have to really look at the details. This is all about detail work. If you think it's as quick and as easy as just doing this, everybody would be doing it. And that's why so many people are having problems, because everybody is starting to do it. They think that they found the new gold rush, and what they're ending up doing is sabotaging themselves. I hate to say it. I've even had clients, or I should say potential clients, because most of them, after they hear my prices, they get kind of afraid. They'll question me and say, hey, I've got an idea for a table. And then they'll contact me, and when they try to get pricing on controllers in bulk, and they're like, man, that price, I don't know if I can do that and, make money on the table. And it's like, well, that's part of it. If you're going to get into the business and you're going to offer support and you're going to do it right, it takes a lot more than taking a computer case and throwing as cheap a drive as you can in there and throwing a whole bunch of other crap in there, making it look gimmicky to try to grab people's attention. more and more people want stability. That's what they need. They're not purchasing this equipment to just get a large amount of hardware installed inside of an enclosure. That's not what this is about. It's not about wiring it and just tying the wires. I see that done. But again, when we look at stuff like this is just poor across the board. And it's really, like I said, it's a gamble with your money, and I hate seeing people gamble with their money. I will not do it, and I can't emphasize it enough. That's why I'm doing these videos, is to educate you guys. When you see things like this, if it doesn't raise an eyebrow and make you want to ask this vendor questions, I don't know what will. Especially, like I said, when we come back here and we actually see, let's see if I can bring her back. See what we can do here. When we see a wall plate, I mean, I don't know what else I need to say. I mean, this is getting, really crazy. Okay. Let's keep going. Another zoom in on that. Okay, we did this one already. Did this, did this, did this, did this. Okay. This picture was sent to me by a potential client, once again, and I want to bring this topic up because this comes up a lot. These are real pictures, mind you. This is a system that this potential client wanted to retrofit because, again, retrofitting sounds great in the sense that you're buying equipment much cheaper and you just got to change the drives out, so to speak, and you're ready to go. Guys, when you see stuff like this is a full system rebuild, and 98% of the time when you see stuff like this, it's going to take you more time and money to rebuild than to just buy a new system. Okay? There comes a point in time when you guys have to run and say, I've had enough, I want to do it right, and then you invest the money and you do it right. And that's realistically what it is. You could see back in the day, this was probably a pretty decent system. He's got GX16 connectors. Looks like we're using insulation here. Of course, we see no shielding. I'm assuming these cables here are shielded. But again, we have no clue as to what's actually going on other than this is a mess. As we go over here, let's see if I can go this way. Oh, wrong way. Sorry about that. Here we go. This is his board. I guess the logic board. Again, not much to say. If any of you, and I know this sounds ridiculous, please hear me out. If any of you let your systems get to look like this in terms of neatness of wiring, in terms of wiring in general, in terms of debris inside the unit, please, let's use common sense. Let's make sure that we treat this electronic controller as the precise instrument it is. It should be clean. It should be in an environment that's preferably climate controlled. And I mean every single time you use your unit, dude, it should be in a climate controlled environment. I cannot say that enough. I get people that are questioning, is it okay to go outside and cut in 95-degree temperature? I'm only going to be out there for 3 hours and this, that, and the other thing. Be realistic, and I say this in every video. If you're outside and you find that the ambient temperature has a high amount of humidity, and then on top of that, you're also dealing with a high temperature, the ambient air inside your enclosure is probably twice that. Why would you subject your high-dollar equipment to that? It's so much better to pick up on Craigslist a used air conditioner, put it in your area, even if you're just out there and have it on when you're out there, and then bring your controller into a climate-controlled environment when you're done. Whatever it takes. I mean, if you have to do that, do that. But protect your investment, because all you end up doing is spending more money either to me or another vendor. That's silly. Do not do that. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're trying to actually do with this equipment. You are building a robot. A manufacturing robot is what you're building. Okay? When you go into Nestle, when you go into Coca-Cola, Pepsi, when you go into DHL, FedEx, all of these places, when there's precision equipment, it's going to be climate controlled. Okay? That's the way it works. 98% of the time. There are certain instances where maybe in freight companies you may find, conveyor belts. That's going to be set up a little differently. But when you see, like I said, manufacturing equipment that, especially for, doing CNC type work, it's got to be in a virtual clean room environment. They're always really clean and climate controlled. And that's why, because they're protecting their investment. And again, they want to yield that stability that we're all able to achieve. So again, guys, I hope these pictures have helped. I hope I've covered a lot of information. I want to, continue this series because I feel it's really educational. I never stop learning. I mean, I've been doing this full time now. Like I said, it's in excess now of 7 years online, and I can tell you truthfully that I've never stopped learning. The pictures you guys send me, it blows me away. I think I see everything, and then I see another set of pictures, and it's like, oh my God, what am I looking at? So I know if I'm learning, I know you guys are learning, and hopefully together we become more empowered to say, nope, I'm not getting involved with that. Move on. I mean, that's the best way to do it. This way, like I said, your money is safe. That's what I care about. I got burned when I first got into this industry, and I remember what that's like. And I hate to say it, there are still times I do get burned. I mean, but I look at it now as, it's the cost of doing business. I think we all get to that point. So you live and you learn. And hopefully with this another set of pictures and this another tutorial that we've just discussed, you guys have learned a little more. Again, I'm going to put my contact information below. Keep the questions coming. I do ask all you guys to like and subscribe if you found this interesting. I'll keep this series going. For those of you who have already subscribed, all my subscribers, I love you guys. I'm going to do my best to keep, again, the information as clear and as concise as possible and simple, because I love simple things. I'm not into, we can discuss science. There's 100,000 YouTube channels that are going into science and theory, but the realistic side of it is we want your system to be not only ergonomic and pretty, but it should work and function and be stable. That's the most important thing, and realistically make you money. That's what we want. That's what 98% of my clients, that's what they want. So let's look at that. Let's go from that perspective. And again, if you want to contact me with questions, again, or consulting, whatever it may be, my email is storm2313@gmail.com. You can also contact me at my eBay store. It's eDealers Direct. Once again, I'll have that contact information below in the description of the video. And again, I thank you guys all for watching. Take care.